A Warship Returns from Exile, Part 1. The salvage ship drifted through the dead zone, its sensors sweeping the darkness for anything valuable. Captain watched the alien crew from his command chair aboard the Defiant, hidden just outside their sensor range. The scavengers had no idea they were being hunted. "They're getting close to the trap," Commander said quietly beside him. Her fingers moved across the tactical display, tracking the smaller ship's movements. "Another 2 minutes." Nodded. 23 years. That's how long it had been since Earth burned. 23 years since the galaxy decided humanity was too dangerous to exist. 7 alien species had come together to destroy his, and they'd almost succeeded. Almost. The ship stopped moving. Its crew had found the signal beacon the Defiant had left behind. Old human military codes just strong enough to attract attention. Could imagine their excitement. Human artifacts were worth fortunes now. The extinct species had become a curiosity, their technology sold to the highest bidder. "Sir, they're trying to decrypt the signal," Lieutenant Sora reported from the weapons station. The young woman had been barely 18 when Earth fell. Now she was 39, hardened by years of survival and fighting. "Should I lock weapons?" "Not yet," said. "Let them think they've found treasure." The Defiant was massive, a dreadnought-class warship that should have been scrapped decades ago. Instead, Engineer Minu had kept her alive through impossible conditions. The ship's hull was from countless battles, patched and repaired so many times that barely any original plating remained. But she was still deadly. "Captain, they are broadcasting their find to their command," said. "They're calling for backup." "Good," stood up, his uniform crisp despite the years. "That's exactly what we want. Minu, how's the wormhole drive?" "Stable, Captain," the engineer's voice crackled over the comm. "We can jump whenever you give the word, though I'd prefer we don't push it too hard. The coils are still hot from the last transit." "Understood." Walked closer to the main. The salvage ship was small, maybe 30 meters long. Harmless. But the 4 warships jumping into the system behind it were not. The Dominion patrol fleet had arrived. "Multiple targets," Sora announced. 4 cruisers X-design, they're powering weapons." "They think they're responding to a distress call," observed. "They have no idea we're here." Smiled. It wasn't a pleasant smile. "Show them." The Defiant dropped its stealth field and appeared on every scanner in the system. The human dreadnought emerged from nothing, its weapons already hot and targeting solutions locked. The alien ships scattered in surprise. "This is Captain of the Human Colonial Navy," he broadcast on all frequencies. "You destroyed our world. You hunted our people. You thought we were extinct." He paused, letting that sink in. "You were wrong." The lead X-cruiser opened fire first. Plasma bolts streaked through space toward the Defiant. Sora's fingers danced across her console, and the ship's point defense systems came alive. Every shot was intercepted before it could touch the hull. "Return fire," ordered. "Target their engines. I want them disabled, not destroyed, not yet." The Defiant's main guns fired. The weapons had been upgraded during their exile, modified with stolen alien technology and human ingenuity. The first cruiser's engines exploded, leaving it drifting. The second tried to run. Sora put a round through its power core. 2 down, she reported, 2 remaining. The third and fourth ships came at them together, trying to flank the larger vessel. It was a standard Dominion tactic. Had spent 23 years studying Dominion tactics. "Execute pattern Delta 7, he said calmly. The Defiant spun on its axis, presenting its heavily armored underside to one attacker while bringing all forward batteries to bear on the other. The maneuver was impossible for most ships, but humans built their warships differently. They built them to survive. The concentrated firepower tore through the third cruiser's shields and cut it in half. The fourth ship tried to retreat, but Sora had already calculated its trajectory. A missile salvo caught it before it could jump to warp. 4 minutes. The entire battle lasted 4 minutes. Damage report asked. Minor hull scoring on Deck 7, Minu reported. Nothing serious. Shields held at 83%. Captain, I'm picking up distress signals from the salvage ship, said. The crew is begging for mercy. Thought about Earth, about the cities burning, about the evacuation ships that never made it out, about the millions who died because they trusted the galaxy to be civilized. Let them go, he said finally. Make sure they get a good scan of us first. I want them to remember what they saw here. Sir looked surprised. We're not here to kill scavengers. We're here to send a message. Turned back to his chair. Sora, prepare a broadcast. Wide spectrum, maximum power. I want every listening post in 100 light years to hear this. Ready when you are, Captain. Sat down and looked at the camera pickup. Behind him, the wreckage of the Dominion fleet burned against the stars. It was time for the galaxy to know the truth. This is Captain of the HCNS Defiant, he began. To every world that participated in the destruction of Earth, hear this message. We did not die. We retreated, we survived, and we learned. We spent 23 years studying you. Your ships, your tactics, your weaknesses. We know everything about you now. He leaned forward, his voice cold as the void outside. We know your trade routes. We know your military codes. We know where your colonies are, where your families live, where your leaders hide. And we have been among you all this time. Your servants, your workers, your traders, watching, waiting, learning. Brought up a data file on the main screen. It showed Dominion military installations, patrol routes, communication frequencies. Classified information that should have been impossible for humans to obtain. This is just a sample, continued. We have more, much more, and we're done hiding. The human race has returned, and we're not asking for peace. We're not begging for mercy. We're taking back what you stole from us. He stood up, the camera following him. To any human still in hiding, still running, still afraid, the Defiant has returned. Rally to us. We're going home. The broadcast ended. Silence filled the bridge for a moment. Message sent, Captain, Sora said quietly. The whole sector will have it in an hour, the entire galaxy in a day. Good, looked at his crew, these people who had trusted him through decades of exile. Set course for Rendezvous Point Omega. It's time to meet the others. Others, sir. The salvage captain's voice came over the comm, still listening despite his fear. Smiled again, and this time there was something fierce in it. Did you think the Defiant was the only ship that survived? We're just the first to come back. The Dreadnought's engines flared bright against the darkness, and humanity's ghost ship jumped into warp, leaving behind burning wreckage and a galaxy that would never sleep easily again. A warship returns from exile, Part 2. Adjusted his collar and walked through the crowded streets of Prime, the Dominion capital world. He'd lived here for 15 years, pretending to be a displaced refugee from a forgotten colony. The aliens around him had no idea he was human. A little genetic modification, some prosthetics, and careful behavior had kept him hidden all this time. His communicator buzzed, a simple message, the Defiant has returned. Smiled and kept walking. Finally, after so many years of waiting, playing the part of a humble trader, the time had come. He reached his small apartment and locked the door behind him. From a hidden compartment under the floor, he pulled out equipment he hadn't touched in years. Weapons, explosives, communication gear. All across the Dominion, similar scenes were playing out. Hundreds of human agents were receiving the same message. The network was awakening. Aboard the Defiant, Captain watched reports flooding in from across the galaxy. The broadcast had worked exactly as planned. Panic was spreading through Dominion space. Captain, we're receiving coded messages from our embedded agents, reported. Confirms he's in position on Prime. Agent reports from the Kelvin shipyards. Agent Bora is ready at the communications hub on Station 7. How many in total? Asked. 347 confirmed contacts so far. more coming in every hour. Doctor looked up from her science station. Sir, I've finished analyzing the data sent us last week. The Dominion's new shield technology has a critical flaw. If we modulate our weapons to this specific frequency, their shields will collapse. Excellent work, Doctor, studied the tactical map. Red markers showed Dominion military positions. Blue markers showed human agents. Coordinate with all cells. I want simultaneous strikes across 12 systems. Hit them hard and fast. Supply depots, communication arrays, shipyards. Make them afraid to sleep. Yes, sir. When do we begin? 72 hours. Give everyone time to prepare. Turn to face his crew. This is what we've been planning for 23 years. Make every shot count. 3 days later, the attacks began. On Prime walked into the central power distribution facility dressed as a maintenance worker. His false credentials got him past security. 10 minutes later, half the capital city went dark. In the confusion, he planted charges at 3 more locations and disappeared into the chaos. At the Kelvin shipyards, triggered a chain reaction that destroyed 4 new Dominion warships before they could launch. The explosions lit up the night sky, visible from the planet below. Station 7's communication hub simply stopped working. Bora had spent months learning the system, finding its weaknesses. When she activated her virus, it spread through every relay in the sector. Dominion fleets suddenly couldn't talk to each other. The Defiant hit a convoy carrying weapons and supplies. Sora's targeting was perfect. Every ship in the convoy was disabled within minutes. The crew took what they needed and destroyed the rest. Reports coming in, said, her voice tight with excitement. All strikes successful, minimal losses on our side. The Dominion is scrambling to respond, but they can't coordinate. Their communication network is in chaos. Good allowed himself a moment of satisfaction. But this is just the beginning. They'll adapt. They'll send out their best to hunt us. He was right. Within a week, Warlord X arrived with a battle fleet. X was an ex-commander known for his brutality. He destroyed 3 rebellions in the outer sectors, showing no mercy to those who opposed the Dominion. His fleet consisted of 20 warships, all state-of-the-art. He announced his intention to capture the Defiant and execute its crew publicly. The humans think they're clever, X told his officers. They think their little tricks will save them. I will teach them the price of defiance. He tracked the Defiant to the Nebula of Sorrows, a region of space filled with radiation and sensor-blocking gases, perfect for hiding, perfect for ambush. Spread the fleet in a search pattern, X ordered. They're in here somewhere, find them. But wasn't hiding, he was hunting. Minu, keep us in the radiation shadow, he said quietly. Use the nebula's interference to mask our position. Sora, I want targeting solutions on every ship that enters weapons range. Understood, Captain. The Defiant moved through the nebula like a ghost, using the radiation that blinded the enemy sensors. X's ships spread out, searching. One came too close. Target locked, Sora whispered. Fire. The Dominion cruiser never saw the shot coming. It exploded in a ball of fire, debris scattering through the nebula. The other ships immediately converged on the location, but the Defiant was already gone, sliding deeper into the radiation clouds. 1 down, marked it on the tactical display. 19 to go. They're grouping up, observed. X is smarter than I hoped. He won't let us pick them off one by one. Then we change tactics, suggested. What if we make them chase us? Lead them deeper into the nebula where the radiation is strongest. Their shields will have to work overtime. Ours are designed for this environment. Do it. The Defiant revealed itself just long enough to fire at another enemy ship, then vanished again. X took the bait, ordering his fleet to pursue. Deeper into the nebula they went, where the radiation was so intense it burned through shield generators. Enemy shields are weakening, Sora reported. The radiation is doing our work for us. All ships, this is Warlord X, the alien commander's voice came over the open channel. Withdraw to safe distance. They're trying to trap us. But it was too late. The Defiant, emerged behind the fleet, its weapons fully charged, had led them exactly where he wanted them. Fire at will. The Dreadnought's guns lit up the nebula. Ships exploded one after another. X's flagship took heavy damage, its engines failing. The Warlord had no choice but to order retreat. His fleet limped out of the nebula, leaving behind 7 destroyed vessels. "Let them go," said. "Make sure they report what happened here." Back on Prime, watched the news reports with satisfaction. The Dominion was panicking. Military commanders were arguing. Politicians were demanding action. Fear was spreading. But the best news came from an unexpected source. Had discovered a young woman named living in an ex-noble's house. She was half-human, kept as a curiosity, a living trophy from the war. Most people didn't even know she existed. Knew he had to get her out. That same night, received a priority message aboard the Defiant. Her face went pale as she read it. "Captain, we have a serious problem. Intelligence reports the Dominion is developing a Project Extinction. It can destroy entire star systems by igniting their stars." What stood up quickly? "How reliable is this information?" "Very reliable, sir. It came from, he stole the data from a secure facility on Prime. Brought up the files on the main screen. The weapon is nearly complete, and they're planning to test it soon. Target unknown. But sir, if they complete this weapon, they could wipe out all our hidden colonies, everything we've built." Stared at the data, his mind racing. This changed everything. They couldn't win through guerrilla tactics if the enemy could destroy whole solar systems. "There's more," said quietly. "Our agent network picked up information about a prison fortress, the Black Gate. They're holding Commander there. They've been interrogating him for 6 days, trying to learn where our colonies are." "Is alive," felt a surge of emotion. The Commander had been his friend, someone he thought died with Earth. "Yes, but he won't last much longer. If he breaks, the Dominion will know where to aim their weapon. We have 48 hours at most." Looked at his crew. They'd already accomplished the impossible. Now he was about to ask them to do it again. "Set course for the Black Gate Fortress," he ordered. "We're getting him out." A Warship returns from Exile, Part 3. The Black Gate Fortress hung in space like a dark star, orbiting a dying sun that bathed everything in sickly red light. Commander had been here for 6 days. 6 days of pain, of questions, of Inquisitor trying to break his mind. "Tell me where the colonies are," the ex-interrogator said softly. "Tell me and the pain stops." His head hung forward, blood dripping from his mouth. They'd taken everything from him, his dignity, his strength, almost his hope, but not the information, never that. "Go to hell," he whispered. Sighed. "Tomorrow we'll try something new. I've been studying human physiology. I know 47 different ways to cause you pain without killing you. We've only used 12 so far." The Inquisitor left and was alone in the darkness. He'd held on this long because he knew his people were out there somewhere, surviving. If he broke, all those lives would end. He could endure anything to protect them. Outside the fortress, the Defiant approached in stealth mode, accompanied by 3 smaller human ships. They'd stolen a Dominion transport vessel and modified it to match current security codes. Specialist led the boarding team, with Sara as his second. "Remember," said over the comm, "the frontal assault is a distraction. All eyes need to be on us, not on you. Once you're inside, you'll have 30 minutes before the fortress realizes what's happening." "Understood, Captain," replied. The veteran soldier checked his weapon one last time. "We won't let you down." The stolen transport approached the fortress, broadcasting proper identification codes. The security station challenged them, and the human pilot responded perfectly. They'd practiced this 100 times. "Transport Theta-9, you are cleared to dock at Bay 7, the fortress controller said. "Welcome to Black Gate." Smiled grimly, "We're in." At that exact moment, the Defiant dropped its stealth and opened fire on the fortress's outer defenses. Alarms blared across the station. Every defender rushed to their positions, focusing on the massive warship attacking them head-on. "All batteries, continuous fire," ordered. "I want them so busy with us they don't look at anything else." The fortress was heavily armed, designed to withstand entire fleets. Its guns tracked the Defiant and fired back. Plasma bolts hammered against the ship's shields. "Shields at 60%, Minu reported from engineering. "We can't take this punishment for long." "We don't need long," said. "Just enough time to get inside." The boarding team moved through the fortress corridors, dressed in stolen Dominion uniforms. They walked with confidence, like they belonged there. Most of the guards ran past them toward the battle stations, ignoring the transport crew. "Prison level is 3 sections down," said quietly. "Stay tight, stay professional, we're just transfers escorting supplies." They reached a security checkpoint. A board guard looked at their credentials and waved them through without really looking. The alarms were so loud nobody was thinking clearly. Deep in the prison levels, they found horrors. Humans in cages, some experimented on, others broken by torture. Alien scientists studied them like animals, taking notes on human endurance and pain tolerance. Sora's hands clenched around her weapon. "These people." "Stay focused," ordered, though his voice shook with anger. "Find first, then we get everyone out." They found him in the highest security cell. The door was triple-locked with electronic, mechanical, and biometric seals. Sora pulled out a device Doctor had designed specifically for this mission. It took 90 seconds to crack all 3 locks. Looked up as the door opened, expecting. Instead, he saw human faces. For a moment, he thought he was hallucinating. Commander knelt beside him. "Sir, we're here to get you out." "Not possible," mumbled. "Nobody breaks into Black Gate." "We're human, sir. We don't believe in impossible," helped him stand. "Can you walk?" "I can run if I have to." Outside, the battle was intensifying. The fortress's shields were holding, but the Defiant wasn't trying to break through, was buying time and doing it brilliantly. "Captain, I'm reading a power surge in the fortress's main reactor," Minu said suddenly. "Something's wrong with their energy distribution." "That's Doctor's work," said with satisfaction. "She hacked their systems through that stolen transport. The fortress is using human-designed technology from Earth, stolen after the invasion. She knows exactly how it works. And how to break it finished, now." Deep in the fortress's computer systems, Doctor's virus activated. The power core that ran the entire station began to malfunction. Shields flickered. Weapons went offline. Life support remained stable, but everything else started failing. "What's happening?" the fortress commander demanded. "Get those systems back online." But it was too late. The cascade failure spread through every major system. Defense turrets stopped firing. Doors unlocked. Containment fields failed. In the prison levels, cell doors opened everywhere. Prisoners emerged, confused and terrified. His team was already freeing humans, but now other species joined them. Aliens who'd been imprisoned for opposing the Dominion, rebels and freedom fighters from a dozen worlds. "All prisoners listen," shouted. "We're evacuating this station. Anyone who wants out, follow us to the docking bays." They moved through the corridors like a flood, hundreds of prisoners following the human soldiers. Guards tried to stop them, but they were overwhelmed by sheer numbers. Inquisitor stood in their path, armed with a plasma rifle. He raised it toward. "You don't leave here alive," he snarled. The shot came from behind him, fell forward, dead before he hit the ground. Sora lowered her rifle, standing half a kilometer away at the far end of the corridor. The impossible shot through a crowded hallway, hitting only her target. "Nobody tortures my people," she said quietly. The prisoners flooded toward the docking bays. The Defiance shuttles were already there, along with the stolen transport and 2 other human ships. They loaded people as fast as possible, packing shuttles beyond safe capacity. "Captain, we're running out of room," the shuttle pilot reported. "There are too many people." "Then make more trips," ordered. "We leave nobody behind." The fortress was dying now, explosions ripping through its lower levels as the power core continued to fail. Warning klaxons screamed throughout the station. "All human forces, this is Captain. Evacuation in progress. 30 seconds to complete withdrawal." Was the last one on the transport, making sure every human and sympathetic alien made it aboard. He did a final sweep of the prison levels, searching for anyone left behind. He found a few aliens too weak to move and carried them himself. "Move," Sora shouted. "The reactor's going critical." He ran, the last shuttle waiting at the dock with its engines hot. He dove through the door as it was closing, and the ship pulled away from the fortress at maximum speed. The Black Gate fortress exploded in a ball of nuclear fire, its reactor finally failing completely. Debris scattered through space, breaking apart and burning. The symbol of Dominion power and cruelty was gone. Aboard the Defiant, the bridge erupted in cheers. They'd done it. The impossible mission was complete. "Damage report?" asked when the celebration quieted. "Port shields are burned out, hull breaches on 3 decks, and we lost 2 turrets," Minyu reported. "But she'll hold together. This old girl always does." "Casualties?" "None, sir. Not one person lost." Allowed himself a rare smile, but it faded when brought up the data they'd recovered from Cell. The Inquisitor had kept detailed records of his interrogation. Captain held out completely. He gave them nothing. But the Dominion's weapon is real. Project Extinction. It's not just one weapon, it's 40 stations scattered across their territory, and they're planning to use them. Commander limped onto the bridge, cleaned up and wearing a fresh uniform. He saluted. "Permission to return to duty, Captain." "Granted. It's good to have you back, Commander," returned the salute. "I'm sorry it took us so long." "You came. That's what matters." Looked at the data on the screen. "I heard about the weapon while they were interrogating me. They plan to demonstrate it to show what happens to species that won't join their dominion." "Then we stop them," said simply. "We've come this far, we're not letting them commit genocide." "Sir, stopping one weapon station is possible," said. "But 40, that's an entire network. We'd need to disable the command hub." "Where is it?" "Prime, in the capital, the most heavily defended location in the entire galaxy." The bridge went quiet. Everyone understood what that meant. "Then that's where we go," said. "But first we warn they deserve to know what's coming." A Warship returns from Exile, Part 4. Ambassador hadn't spoken publicly in 15 years. She'd hidden her humanity, lived in the shadows, survived by being invisible. Now she stood before the High Council, her true face revealed, asking them to believe the impossible. "Project Extinction is real," she said, showing them the stolen data. "In 72 hours, the Dominion will ignite your star. 8 billion of your people will die unless you act now." The counselors looked at each other with doubt. They were a peaceful species, traders and artists. The idea that the Dominion would commit such evil seemed impossible to them. "How do we know this isn't a human trick?" the lead counselor asked. "You want us to oppose the Dominion, to risk war." "I want you to survive," replied. "The weapon exists. The countdown has already started. If you don't believe me, check your star. You'll see the energy readings are already changing." Before they could respond, alarms began sounding. Scientists rushed in with readings from the star that warmed there. Something was affecting it, building energy in ways that shouldn't be possible. "The human tells the truth," a scientist gasped. Our sun is becoming unstable. If this continues, it will go supernova within days. The council chamber erupted in panic. They had thought they were safe, neutral in the galaxy's conflicts. Now they discovered that neutrality meant nothing to the Dominion. "Where is this weapon?" the counselor demanded. "Can it be stopped?" "Yes," said, "and we know people who can stop it." In space near the weapon station, the Defiant dropped out of warp alongside its small fleet. The station was enormous, bristling with weapons and protected by heavy shields, but had brought someone who knew its secrets. Engineer stood on the bridge, his hands shaking. He'd helped build this weapon, forced to work for the Dominion or watch his family die. They'd killed his family anyway once the weapon was complete. Now he was humanity's best chance to stop it. "The station has 3 power cores," explained. "Destroy all 3 and the weapon shuts down, but they're deep inside, protected by multiple shield layers. You'd need to board the station." "Then we board it," said. "Sara Minu, prepare a team. We'll guide you." "Captain, Dominion reinforcements are en route," warned. "We'll have company in 20 minutes." "Then we have 20 minutes, looked at his crew. "This is what we came for, make it count." The Defiant launched its assault, weapons hammering the station's shields. Fighter craft poured out to defend it, but the human ships were ready. Sora led the boarding team in a small, fast shuttle that slipped through the chaos. They cut their way inside using plasma torches, moving through maintenance tunnels that knew by heart. The engineer led them deeper into the station, past security checkpoints and automated defenses. "First power core ahead," he said, pointing. "We need to overload it. Set your charges here, here, and here." Minu planted the explosives with expert precision. Charges set, timer at 5 minutes. They moved to the second core, fighting through Dominion security forces. The aliens were frantic now, realizing the humans were inside. Alarms screamed throughout the station. "Captain, we're taking heavy fire," reported from the Defiant. "The reinforcements arrived early. We need that station shut down now." "Working on it," Minu replied, setting charges on the second core. 2 down, 1 to go. The third power core was the most heavily defended. A full security team waited for them, weapons ready. The firefight was brutal. Sara took a hit to her shoulder but kept fighting, providing cover while Minu reached the core. 10 minutes until the weapon fires," said, checking the countdown. "We're running out of time." "Then move faster," Minu growled, attaching the final explosive. "Charges ready, 30 seconds. They ran back through the tunnels, the wounded Sara supported between 2 teammates. Behind them the explosions began. 1 power core, then another, then the third. The entire station shuddered as its systems failed. Scientists watched in amazement as their star began to stabilize. The energy buildup was revering. The weapon had been stopped. "We're saved," the counselor whispered. "The humans saved us." The Defiant shuttle barely made it back before the station tore itself apart. They flew through debris and explosions, the pilot pushing the engines to their limits. They docked just as the Dominion reinforcements arrived in force. "All ships prepare to jump," ordered. "We're done here." The human fleet vanished into warp, leaving behind a destroyed weapon station and a very grateful species. In the medical bay, Doctor treated Sora's wound. "You'll be fine. The shot went through cleanly. You'll be back on duty in a week." "Good," Sora said. "We're not done yet." She was right. Commander had been analyzing the data brought with him. The full scope of Project Extinction was now clear, and it was worse than anyone thought. 40 weapon stations, she briefed the senior staff. Each one capable of destroying a star system. The Dominion has them positioned throughout their territory. They plan to activate all of them simultaneously in 72 hours. "Why?" asked. "What's the point of destroying 40 systems?" "Obedience," said grimly. "They're going to announce their capability to every world under Dominion control. Submit completely or watch your sun explode. It's ultimate power through ultimate terror. How many people live in those 40 systems? Doctor asked quietly. Over 100 billion, including 2 confirmed human colonies. The room went silent. The implications were staggering. Even if they saved the human worlds, billions of innocent aliens would still die. There has to be a way to stop all of them, said. You helped design this system. There must be a weakness. The engineer nodded slowly. There is. The weapons are networked, controlled from a central hub. Take out the hub and the entire system becomes useless. But the hub is located in the Dominion capital on Prime, in the high command building, protected by every defense they have. That's a suicide mission, said. The capital has 3 orbital defense platforms, dozens of warships and ground-based weapons that could destroy a fleet. We'd never make it through. We don't have a choice, said. If we do nothing, everyone dies. At least this way we have a chance. Pulled up tactical maps of Prime. The defenses were overwhelming. Any conventional assault would fail. They needed something the Dominion wouldn't expect. What if we don't fight our way in? She suggested. What if we already have people inside? Understood immediately. And the other agents, they've been embedded there for years. Exactly. We launch a frontal assault with the fleet, draw all the defenses to us. Meanwhile, our agents infiltrate the high command building and destroy the hub from inside. It could work, admitted, but the fleet would take a beating. We might not all make it out. Then we don't all make it out, said, but the mission succeeds. That's what matters. He activated the long-range communicator, broadcasting on the frequency used by the Council. Within an hour, the fleet arrived, 800 ships ready to help. They owed humanity a debt. Thank you for saving our world, the Admiral said. We stand with you now. Tell us what you need. More ships arrived over the next day. Species that had suffered under Dominion rule, worlds that were tired of living in fear. Some sent only a few vessels. Others sent entire fleets. They all knew what was at stake. Ambassador stood on the Defiance Bridge, watching the assembled armada. Hundreds of ships from dozens of species, all united against a common threat. It was the coalition humanity had dreamed of during the dark days after Earth fell. They came, she whispered. They actually came. You gave them a reason to hope, told her, something the Dominion never could. On Prime, received his orders. The assault would begin in 24 hours. He had that long to position his team inside the high command building and prepare to strike. He gathered the other human agents in the city, 27 men and women who'd lived in disguise for years, waiting for this moment. They'd watched the Dominion up close, learned its secrets, and now they would use that knowledge to bring it down. This is it, he told them. Tomorrow we end this. Some of us won't make it out, but our people will survive. That's worth dying for. They all nodded. They'd made their peace with death years ago. Back aboard the Defiant, looked at the tactical display. The odds were terrible. They were outnumbered and attacking the most heavily defended location in the galaxy. But they were human, and humans had survived the impossible before. All ships, he broadcast to the assembled fleet. Prepare for jump to Prime. We're going to end this war. The Armada's engines flared in unison, hundreds of ships preparing to jump into the heart of Dominion space. It was the largest fleet humanity had commanded since Earth fell, and it was about to start the battle that would decide everything. A Warship returns from Exile, Part 5. The Armada emerged from warp at the edge of the system, and every alarm on every Dominion ship began screaming at once. Hundreds of vessels had just appeared, led by the hull of the Defiant. The impossible had happened. The humans had brought an army to the Dominion's doorstep. All ships begin attack pattern, ordered calmly. Remember, we're not here to win a space battle. We're here to keep them busy. The Dominion Home Defense Fleet scrambled to respond. 50 capital ships, hundreds of fighters, and 3 massive orbital platforms that could destroy moons. Against them, the Allied fleet looked small and desperate. "They outnumber us 5-1, observed. "Good," said. "That means they'll all be focused on us. Are you in position?" On the planet below, crouched in the shadows near the High Command building. Around him, his team waited with weapons ready. They'd spent the night infiltrating through service tunnels and maintenance access. Nobody had noticed the cleaning crew that wasn't on the schedule. "We're ready, Captain," he whispered into his communicator. "Start the fireworks." The Defiant led the charge, its guns blazing as it swept toward the first orbital platform. The ships followed, their shields interlocking to protect each other. The Dominion fleet moved to intercept, and space erupted in fire. "Engineering, how are we holding?" asked. "Shields at 40% and dropping fast," Minu reported. "We're taking too much damage. This ship wasn't built to fight these odds." "She doesn't have to survive forever, just long enough." A Dominion cruiser exploded as Sora's targeting found its reactor. Another took critical damage from but for every enemy ship destroyed, the Allied fleet lost 2. The math was brutal and simple. They couldn't win this fight. But winning wasn't the mission. Inside the High Command building, and his team moved through the corridors. Their stolen uniforms and fake credentials got them past the first checkpoint. The second required some creative hacking from one of their computer experts. The third involved knocking out 2 guards and hiding the bodies. "Command hub should be 3 levels down," said. "According to the blueprints, it's behind a vault door with biometric security." "Can we breach it?" asked. "We have to," checked his watch. "The weapon activation happens in 90 minutes. If we're not inside by then, billions die." They reached the vault door. It was massive, designed to withstand orbital bombardment. The security panel required a handprint, retinal scan, and voice authentication from someone with top clearance. "Plan B," said, pulling out a shaped explosive. "We blow it." "That'll bring every guard in the building," warned. "Then we'd better work fast." The explosive detonated, blowing a hole through the vault door. Alarm screamed immediately. His team rushed inside, finding a chamber full of computers and holographic displays. At the center stood High Executor himself, overseeing the weapon's final preparations. "Humans," the alien leader said, unsurprised. "I knew you'd come, so predictable." "Step away from that console," ordered, raising his weapon. "Or what? You'll shoot me? That changes nothing. The weapon is already armed. The countdown cannot be stopped," smiled coldly. 40 systems will burn, your colonies included. This is what happens to those who defy the Dominion." "We'll see about that," nodded two, who rushed to the nearest computer terminal. The engineer's fingers flew across the keyboard, accessing the weapon's control systems. "It's locked down," said desperately. "I need the authorization codes. Without them, I can't shut it down." "Then we destroy the whole system," decided. "Plant charges on every server, every power conduit. Blow it all." "That won't work," said, still calm. "The building is shielded. Your explosives can't damage the core systems. I designed it that way." In space, the battle was going badly. The Allied fleet had been cut in half. The Defiant was burning, its shields gone, hull breaches on multiple decks. Commander worked frantically to keep weapons online while Minu rerouted power from dying systems. "Captain, we have to retreat," urged. "We've lost too many ships." "Not yet," said through gritted teeth. "Needs more time." Another explosion rocked the ship. The bridge lights flickered. Doctor's console exploded in sparks, throwing her across the room. Sora kept firing, even as her station sparked and smoked. "All Allied ships, this is Commander," she broadcast. "Hold the line. Whatever happens, hold the line." The Admiral responded, his ship heavily damaged. "We stand with humanity. We do not run." Below stared at the computer terminal in frustration. They'd come so far, sacrificed so much. They couldn't fail now, not when billions of lives hung in the balance. There has to be a way, he muttered. Then he saw it, a manual override buried deep in the system architecture. If someone enters the core reactor chamber and triggers a manual shutdown, would that work? Yes, but his face went pale. The core reactor is superheated. The radiation levels are lethal. Anyone who goes in there won't come out. Tell me how to do it. No. Tell me. Showed him the procedure. Access the reactor chamber. Disable the safety interlocks. Trigger the emergency shutdown. It would take approximately 3 minutes. 3 minutes in an environment that would kill a human in less than one. Get everyone out of the building, ordered his team. That's a direct order, go now. We're not leaving you, protested. You have to, someone needs to tell them what happened here, tell them we won. He smiled sadly. It's been an honor serving with you all. Before they could argue further, ran toward the reactor chamber. Guards tried to stop him, but he shot his way through. Behind him, his team reluctantly fell back, fighting through Dominion soldiers trying to reach them. Watched in disbelief. Fool, you'll die for nothing. Not for nothing, said, for everything. He entered the reactor chamber. The heat hit him like a physical blow. His skin began to burn immediately. Radiation warnings flashed on every screen, but he kept moving, step by agonizing step, toward the control panel. In space, the Defiant was dying. 3 Dominion ships surrounded it, pounding it relentlessly. The dreadnought that had survived 23 years of exile was finally being destroyed. Shields down, Menu reported, his voice hoarse from smoke inhalation. Hull integrity at 15%. One more hit and we're done. Captain, we need to evacuate, said. The ship won't last another minute. Looked at his crew, these people who'd trusted him through everything. He'd led them into exile, kept them alive for decades and brought them home. Now he was about to lose them. All hands abandon ship, he ordered quietly. Get to the escape pods, that's an order. Sir, you need to come too, Sora said. I'm staying. Someone has to keep the ship fighting until the last second. Buy as much time as possible. Then we all stay, said firmly. The rest of the bridge crew nodded in agreement. Felt tears in his eyes. You're all insane. We're human, Menu said with a tired grin. It's the same thing. Below reached the control panel. His hands were shaking so badly he could barely work the controls. His vision blurred. He was dying, his body shutting down from radiation exposure. But the countdown was still active. 20 seconds until 40 stars ignited. He disabled the safety interlocks. His fingers left bloody smears on the screen. 10 seconds. He triggered the emergency shutdown. Every weapon station across Dominion space received the command simultaneously. Power cores began to cycle down. The countdown stopped. 5 seconds. The weapons went offline. 40 star systems were saved. 100 billion lives continued, unaware of how close they'd come to annihilation. 0. Collapsed, his body finally giving out. But he died smiling, knowing he'd succeeded. His last thought was of Earth, of home, of the species that refused to surrender even when the galaxy tried to erase them. Above, the sensor boards on the Defiant suddenly changed. The weapon network was offline, completely and permanently disabled. Did it, whispered, the weapons are down. Across Dominion space, species that had lived in fear of project extinction suddenly realized they were free. Worlds under Dominion control began broadcasting messages of defiance. Fleets, the empire that had ruled through terror, was fracturing in real time. High Executor saw his life's work crumbling and did the only thing he could. He activated the building's self-destruct and ran for his private escape shuttle. The headquarters exploded behind him as he fled into space. Sir, the Dominion fleet is retreating, reported in amazement. They're withdrawing. All ships cease fire, ordered, let them go. The Battle of Prime was over. The Allied fleet had lost nearly 60% of its ships. The Defiant was a burning wreck, barely holding together, but they'd won. 6 months later, Captain stood on the surface of New Earth, a colony world humanity had built in secret during the Exile. The city was small but growing, full of humans who'd thought they'd never see their species rise again. In the center of the city stood a memorial wall. Thousands of names carved into black stone, people who died in the war or during the Exile. Added one more name with his own hands, Park, Agent, Hero. He saved everyone, Commander said, standing beside him. She wore a civilian suit now, her new role as ambassador keeping her busy. The galaxy owes him everything. They'll never know his name, said. Most of the people he saved don't even know they were in danger. He knew that was enough for him. Above them, the Defiant hung in orbit, decommissioned but preserved. Its hull caught the sunlight, a reminder of everything they'd endured. Children looked up at it and asked their parents to tell them stories of the Great Return. Doctor had opened a research institute, studying the captured Dominion technology to benefit all species. Minyu taught at an engineering academy, training a new generation. Sara, recovered from her wounds, commanded a patrol ship keeping the peace, worked with to build the new Galactic Council, ensuring no species would ever face extinction again. The Dominion was gone, its member species now free and independent. Some thrived, others struggled, but they all faced their futures without fear of the weapon that could ignite stars. A young human child approached at the memorial. "Sir, were you really gone for 23 years?" Looked down at the child, seeing hope in eyes that had never known Earth. This generation would grow up free, building a future among the stars. "We were never really gone," he said gently. "We were just getting ready to come back." The child pointed up at the Defiant. "My teacher says humanity came back ruthless." "We came back determined," corrected. "There's a difference. We fought for survival, for justice, for a future. That's not ruthless, that's human." As the sun set over New Earth, placed one more flower at the memorial, not just but for everyone who'd fallen along the way, who'd sacrificed himself at the Black Gate, the crews of ships lost in battle, the millions who died when Earth burned. They'd paid a terrible price for survival, but they'd survived. And in a galaxy that had tried to exterminate them, humanity had proven something important. They could be beaten, they could be scattered, they could be driven to the edge of extinction. But they could never be erased. The stars above shone bright and welcoming. Somewhere out there, human ships explored new systems, built new colonies, forged new alliances. The exile was over. The war was won. Humanity was home. And they would never forget what it took to get there.